Let me know if you agree with this. For a lot of people, work doesn't feel as safe as it used to. You see, for a long time, we believed something simple. You work hard, you stayed loyal, you kept your head down, and your job would be safe. But somewhere along the way, that stopped being true. The rules changed. And you could already see it happening in how people build careers today. One of the biggest changes is this: staying in one job for a long time doesn't always lead to the strongest financial growth anymore. In fact, a lot of younger workers have noticed that changing jobs every 2 or 3 years often lead to higher pay over time. And it's not because they're working harder, but because each new job lets them earn closer to what the market is paying in that moment. And what that means is this: the idea of stay somewhere long enough and you'll be taken care of just doesn't feel as reliable anymore at any age. And that shift has created something a lot of people are feeling, but don't always talk about: a kind of stress at work that just sits in the background. Do any of you experience work stress? If you do or did, hit that like button to let me know. But especially for people over 50 who expected things to work one way and found something very different. So let's talk about what actually changed and why it feels this way now. For many of us over 50, we were raised in a very different work culture. We were taught loyalty. You got a job, you stayed there, you worked hard, and you didn't complain. You kept your head down, and you expected that loyalty to mean something. Does any of this sound familiar to anyone? Because that's exactly what I believed. And I actually lived this out. Loyalty doesn't seem to matter anymore because I stayed with the same company for 19 years before being laid off at 51. I believed that if you did the right things long enough, things would work out. But somewhere along the way, the rules changed, layoffs became normal, constant restructuring became normal, doing the work of 2 or 3 people became normal, offshoring jobs became normal, slower and lower raises became normal. And the result is simple: work doesn't feel as safe as it used to. Have you noticed that? Not necessarily worse in every way, just different. Because the workplace that many of us entered doesn't feel like the same world anymore. And at this stage of life, that change hits differently because a lot of us aren't just dealing with work, we're dealing with everything else at the same time: family responsibilities, health concerns, financial pressure. It all stacks up. And work doesn't slow down just because life gets complex. Have you felt that? It's not that you don't want to work, but that you're carrying more than you're used to. And here's something that I've noticed: a lot of people are adapting, but many are also trying to make peace with the fact that life didn't go according to plan. The career they expected, the financial security they expected, the retirement they expected. It all looks different now, and letting go of that expectation is harder than most people talk about. Have you ever felt that, like life didn't quite unfold the way that you expected it to? And I've actually lived through this in a very real way. After staying with the same company for 19 years, most of my job functions were offshored overseas. So I was laid off. And that forced me to rethink everything that I believed about work and stability. Because suddenly, the rules I thought were permanent were not. And if you're under 50, there's something that you can take from all this right now. This isn't something to only think about later in life, it's something happening right now in how careers are being built. Don't assume one job will always be there. Keep learning, keep building skills, take care of your health early, and be careful about building a lifestyle that requires every dollar that you make. Make sure that you're building your emergency fund because change doesn't wait until you're ready for it. And I don't say that to scare anyone. I say it because I wish someone had told me about this earlier. And for those of us over 50, it's important to remember something. Just because the world changed does not mean that we are out of options. And just because life didn't unfold exactly as expected doesn't mean that the best part of life is behind us. Sometimes life takes turns that we never planned for, but those turns often teach us things that we never would have learned otherwise. So if you're carrying a lot right now, I hope you don't lose heart. You're not alone in this. If you're over 50, you still have value. You have so much wisdom to share. So, share what you've learned or what you've experienced in the comments below. You never know. Your experience can probably help someone else. How has the working world changed since you started your career? And if you're under 50, what are you noticing about work today? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.